Right now, though, let's have a talk about, all the people being hit by all of these cancellations, non-stop cancellations of flights, and a big concern, especially what happened during lockdowns, post-lockdowns, when people would have flights cancelled again and again and again, not know what their rights were if they got COVID or someone else got COVID who they were travelling with, or the rules changed when they were abroad. And now the aviation watchdog has the claim is that they should get stronger powers to protect passengers hit by the kind of international travel disruption that we have seen during the past 2 years. Well, let's talk to Julia Lobai Said. She's Chief Executive of Advantage Travel Partnership and joins us now. Good morning to you, Julia.
Hi, good morning.
Lovely to talk to you. Look, there's no doubt at all, one of the things that has put a lot of people off who would be perfectly happy about getting on a plane is, do I have to fill out a form? Do I know that? Do I have to have this jab or that jab? What if the rules change when I get there? What if I get trapped when I get back? But one of the big concerns is, will my plane go? Will I get my money back if I can't get on that plane? So what sort of powers do we think that a new aviation watchdog should have?
Yeah, absolutely, Julian, and that's absolutely right in terms of some of the many of the worries that lots of consumers have when they're thinking about travel. The reality is travel is very complex, and it's very complex depending on how you book. What the industry now has an opportunity to do, what regulators now have an opportunity to do, is simplify the process so it's very clear, very black and white, what rights consumer have, how they can be supported and where they need to go in the event of having to deal with flight cancellations or refunds, etc., etc. Yeah. I think when you go back to the pandemic, when you think about when it all happened, when it all kicked off, that March 2020, the sheer volume and extraordinary circumstances the industry found itself in when they're literally trying to cancel and refund thousands upon thousands of flights all in one go, just proved impossible. The system
I've got a lot of sympathy as well for the airlines there. They had, a lot of crew, they were working as cabin crew one day, and the next week they're having to sort of, try and deal with people's refunds. And a lot of them took a long time. A lot of people were saying, I'll take a voucher because I'll be able to fly in 6 months' time, or I'll be able to fly next year. And of course, those holidays, those flights, they got moved again and again and again. And a lot of people, again, sitting there going, well, look, I'm on furlough. I need that cash back. I could afford that holiday. Now I can't, and needing that money back. But the airlines basically saying, look, we need to keep the money because we're going to go under. And we did see airlines go under, didn't we? The travel industry has been very badly hit. But fundamentally, it's got to come down to the consumer's rights. And it does seem to me, it seems to differ massively with who you've booked for. I mean, BA, well, they were giving people, look, basically, if you book with us, you can rearrange it for free at any time for like a year or something. EasyJet were refunding. Ryanair, another one of the biggest airlines that people travel on. I mean, I had flights from Ryanair. Tough. We couldn't go. The rules in France changed. We were going to have to quarantine when we came back here. And it was like, couldn't go. Lost our money. Sorry. No can do. And, people don't want to book flights if they don't know whether they're going to get their money back.
Absolutely, and there is no excuse. The law is black and white, and it's really frustrating for all of us in the ecosystem when we're having to deal with situations where at the top of the chain, the money's not flowing down. Yeah. It's worth just clarifying that if you book, for example, a package holiday through a travel agent, that travel agent by the tour operator has to refund within 14 days, regardless of whether the airline has passed the money down. So it is very complicated. There are rights in there, but as you say, it's so important not only what airline you book with, but how you book your holiday or your travel trip can make such a difference.
Yeah, who you book with. And also, I mean, I remember looking at possibility, could I get the insurance or get the coverage back through my credit card? But, oh, no, you have to have this kind of credit card to get that. It is very complicated, and it is a minefield for most people. And I'm pretty dab hand on consumer rights and a dab hand on the internet. But I'm thinking, if you're not, you're really going to struggle. And the airlines take advantage of that, because often when they cancel a flight, and it's their choice to cancel a flight, and we're seeing it at the moment, it's nothing to do with, we're not allowed to fly. It's just they haven't got enough staff. And I understand there have been issues there. But, you're still someone who's paid for a flight and haven't got one. Now you're going to have to buy a flight much, next week when you booked it months ago. And what a surprise, it's gone up in price. And you're left paying the difference. Whereas actually the airlines should be telling you, your consumer rights means that we have to pay the difference.
Absolutely. As I say, it's just so complicated. It doesn't need to be. It really doesn't. Yeah. And we need to get better as an industry. The regulators need to be a lot clearer. We're now looking for more teeth, more powers, then that's great. How does it work with the industry? And as you said at the start, frankly, the industry's been decimated for a couple of years. It's going to take time to rebuild. And we now need to make sure that we're all in a position to help consumers, put them first, and make sure they can experience a great trip they want, but give them the advice about how to book to make sure they are protected.
And in terms of the chaos we've got at the moment, lots of people are still so wary of booking, and yet, we're trying to get things back up. I think we're up to 80% of pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of people who haven't gone on holiday for 2 years going, I'd like my holiday, please. But they booked it 2 or 3 times. We're just seeing chaos at the airports. Again, that puts people off. There's a big issue about security staff at the airport because they need to be vetted, and that can take, 4 months sometimes. Has that been speeded up? With some talk that the government would prioritise that to make sure people could get away?
It has indeed, yes, and we're actually seeing, it much smoother at the airports now. Also, let's not forget the things that we saw at the biggest weekend of the year, busiest weekend of the year, where everyone was trying to get away after not being away for a long time. But it is improving. It is calmed down quite a bit. We're seeing passengers travel through airports much more seamlessly. A long way to go, but it's much better than it was a couple of weeks ago.
Well, it couldn't got any worse, could it? Totally that.
True.
Really appreciate you joining us. Jolia Low Buai Said, Chief Executive of Advantage Travel Partnership. Thank you very much for that.